Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. Now we're a day away from the markets coming back into full trading. I want to do another video, this time looking at the YM and see how that unfolded yesterday, which was Tuesday, July the 8th. I choose the YM because there were some very interesting setups unfolding yesterday. If I look at this from my standard MTPredictor or new customers perspective, you can see we had a lovely TS3 buy setup here, which was on a black STF, which is a neutral trend. Therefore we place the analysis on this blue buy bar here. Just by right mouse click to analysis, you can see the market came in. Here's our correct position size, and to keep our number of lots, contracts or shares varied, so I'll keep our initial risk under control. The market didn't quite make the first target before the close, but if I look at where the market closed, which was about here, it was a lovely 3-hour profit. So that was a lovely trade. But the one I really want to look at is I want to look at this DP buy down at the bottom, that's the very low of the day here. Now people say you can't buy the low of the day or sell the high of the day, but it just means you haven't got the correct tools to do this. So I want to show how the more experienced MTPredictor user could have actually considered this as a valid trade setup. Let's put a bit of white space on the right hand side, so we can look at this in a bit more logical way. So I just want to scroll forward just before this market broke to the new lows here. So if I zoom in a bit, so can you all see here how we had a swing up, the market was starting to decline down. One of the tools we have in MTPredictor is called the decision point tool. This is a leading indicator. This gives us an area in advance of where we're anticipating support or resistance. This is easy to place on the chart. We hover over this low pivot, right mouse click, do decision point, and you can see there it is. It's on the chart. They're ready to wait to see if support unfolds. And that's the important thing. In other words, this is a leading indicator. If we scroll forward the next bar, you can see the market dropped down into this support level. Now what the important thing is, if I now look at the volume, you can see here on our volume, this volume bar has gone red. What does that mean? It means this is our VSA indicator on the volume. It means that there's a higher than usual volume on this bar that's a bit a wide range bar, or wider than normal. In other words, there's something happening with this volume. Now normally amateur traders look at this and say, oh yes, volume's increasing, we've now broken below a prior pivot low, therefore this is selling, so they look to go short. However, we have an added advantage over amateur traders in that we know that this has now entered a potential support zone, in other words our decision point level. Let's see what happens the very next bar. The very next bar the market fails to follow through. In fact it reverses and rallies, but most importantly it rallies at our decision point support zone. So what that means is the volume on the prior bar, or the previous bar, this bar here, is not actually selling as amateurs would think. It's actually buying. It's actually professionals coming in to buy the market. In other words, this is a classic bear trap, and it's amazing how many times this will pick the high or the low of the day for you. And amateur traders love this because as soon as the professionals love this because they love catching amateurs on the wrong side of the trade, because normally off a setup like this the market moves quickly as the professionals move the market away from the amateurs who are now trapped in losing position. In fact, we also had an automatic DP buy setup here. So if we place the analysis on this setup, you can see it gives us our same DP support level. It gives us a target up here, position size, and gives us our number of contracts to trade to keep our initial risk small under control, and our potential profit at the target there is approximately 2.8 R, or 2.8 times the initial risk. So let's see what happened now. The market went up, went sideways for a bit, it then shot up here, shot up to hit that target, hit the target absolutely perfectly. And if I zoom out and if I take the right hand space off here, you'll see that this was actually the high absolutely perfectly. There we go. Just make those bars a bit thicker. You can see that our decision point target, look at that, caught that high absolutely perfectly. So actually this was the best place to come out of this particular trade. If you had have noticed that the STF was strong and you decided to trail using the ATR stop, that would have been fine. You'd have had a slightly less smaller profit. You'd probably come out with 1.6 R. But either way, it was still a beautiful trade. It was a beautiful trade coming long right off the low of the day. So this is why I wanted to do today's video, to show you that we had some good trade setups on the YM. This TS3 buy setup later in the day, as we've already seen, created a nice 3-hour profit. But this DP buy, I love these kind of trade setups when they come in with our VSA indicator here. We call this volume spike analysis because it's a spike in the volume, because they're basically showing what the professionals are doing. In other words, they are trapping amateur traders, and we are then going in the direction of the professional money. In this case, they are looking to go long and then move the market higher, and that's exactly what happened. So a setup like this with a VSA bar here, as it breaks an important level, that's the important point. It has to basically fake out amateur traders by going beyond what is perceived as psychologically important pivot level. That's why we don't trade off any old of these red bars, because they're only important when the market has moved through an important psychological level and has reversed at our DP support zone. So as you can see, a lovely trade there that had you long off the very low of the day. So that answers the question: is can you buy the low of the day and sell the high of the day? Well, if you have the correct tools, in other words, in MTPredictor, very often you can do that very trade when you have the right setup. And this VSA setup like this is the setup to look for to catch the very highs or lows of moves like this. So a very good setup, is one of my favorite trade setups in the MTPredictor software.